Good afternoon everyone, well good morning, good evening and good afternoon. In this video we're going to cover on the October the 20th Bitcoin's recent bull run and its upcoming fork. We're also going to cover XRP and what happened at Swell and maybe some logic to behind it, and then also Ethereum and what's going on there because not much has really been happening. So first up is Bitcoin. It's the one that's had the most amount of movement recently. On the top chart we've got BTC 1, 2, 3, 4. On the bottom we've got 5 and 6. So the top one is the relatively recent. It's on a 4-hour period and it runs from the 12th. Well, my chart runs from the 12th up until today. So Bitcoin 1 is when it hit its most recent all-time high. Then it did a very quick correction practically within the next 4 hours where it bounced up and down a bit. Then Bitcoin 3 was when I was very lucky. A couple of my orders just in an afternoon when I was too busy at work, they managed to activate and I practically got some Bitcoin at I think 5,200. I wish that I had added more into that, but hey, don't we all? And then now Bitcoin 4 is its recent today in the afternoon. It's really skyrocketed. It decided to just jump upwards and test the 6,000 resistance mark because the really big figures always take that bit to get over. So at this very point in time, I'm going to stake that the chance of it breaking and keeping above the 6,000 mark is gonna be pretty slim. If it does break and it does manage to stay about 4, maybe 8 hours above the 6,000, then the next one will probably be about 6,200 before it actually hits any more major resistance, because I think everyone is trying to get on the wagon to make sure that all the free coins that will be flying around sometime in November will actually get deposited into their accounts. For me personally, I decided to not open up any more long positions. I'm waiting for some correction. On Bitcoin 5 and Bitcoin 6, that is what happened the last time after it set an all-time high, and then the market got incredibly nervous coming in towards the fork. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that bad. We might see 5 all the way down to 5,000 again. It might even break to 4,800, but I really don't see it getting much past that, even in a doomsday type scenario. The things that are coming out of it, yeah, most people are going to be okay with it, on those that actually fully understand it, but I think all it'll take is a few nervous people or some of the big whales to basically drop out and put a few of the short orders on it to really push it down and to drag it downwards, just like on the last fork. Yes, I do have some coins in exchanges which I'm going to be keeping to also cash in on my free coins, provided that they actually even turn up, but I'm not really holding my breath on that one. On here I'm going to wait for some good entry points. Good entry points for me at the moment, I've got some set up on all the way down. I think they start at this very point in time about 5,750 because I like nice round figures, and then going downwards from there, all with less than 1% of my total equity. I'm really going to be hands off until we get a lot clearer picture. Providing that the fork call goes well, then last time there was actually a little bit of a time delay between the fork going pretty smoothly to it then skyrocketing, which is BTC 6 in the bottom chart. So those are just my thoughts, and basically I'm backing away from it for a little bit of time. Now here comes the really interesting one, and it's all about XRP. Now, we've got a few different things. We've got Twitter. The Twitter is circled. the effect of what they did when they decided to release, oh yes, we're going to announce something really big and we're going to keep on doing one tweet per day, which really riled up the market. It bumped it up a lot in value and it really pushed it up high. It went way higher than what was the pre-buzz around Swell. Now, I've also circled Swell. Swell event was, to most people, a complete and utter disaster. A lot of people, including myself, thought that the hype would last a little bit longer, to drag it all the way up to 0.3. I was hoping for. A lot of my trades would cash out at the 0.3. I got a little bit greedy, didn't cash them out as soon as they hit the green, or run a trailing stop loss, just because I was so busy in my normal day job. And yes, now I've put it into a long-term hold, put it to one side, paying attention to it, but not really doing a huge amount with it. After Swell, it hit a new support. It isn't going past the 0.2. So at least that's a good thing, even with all the bad press which came out about it by the traditional people that actually buy cryptocurrencies. And then you start to think, what did they actually do in that big conference, and why did they do it? Right. Who are they trying to get as a client? They're not actually trying to get you or me. They don't want the consumer buying this stuff at all. They really don't care. They want to try and get as far away from Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies as humanly possible, because their prospective clients aren't us. They're banks. They are big banks. They are financial institutions that they're really trying to hammer away at this. And what are banks scared of? Cryptocurrencies. They don't like them. They're completely new, and generally you fear the unknown with all good reason. Banks don't want cryptocurrencies. They are too unregulated. And I'm sorry to say this, but I actually agree that the main amount of finance out there does actually need to be regulated, because we live in, well, cultures that rely on these things, knowing that what a price of a loaf of bread one day will be the same price as a loaf of bread the next day, or with a very little amount of inflation. If we actually paid everything with Bitcoin and Ethereum, you could go out and buy a house one day and then it halve in value for 2 days after. So it's really not good. Yes, a lot of people will probably be screaming at my video at this point in time and quickly pressing the pause button, taking some deep breaths. But XRP, Ripple, they're after one type of client. That's it. They don't want any uncertainty. They don't want anything. And they actually probably want it very, very stable. They want to prove to everyone this is stable. They're trying to get it so the whole ethos of what they're now going to be doing, of releasing so much to buy, anything that isn't bought on that point in time or given away to prospective new investors, gets put back into the box for the next month. And I really do think that for what they want to do, they're probably going about the right way on it. Jamie Dimon opening up his mouth about Bitcoin is a fraud is probably doing them a favour in a roundabout way, and probably why they really bashed on it at practically every single opportunity they could get. They really try to hammer it as the proper cryptocurrencies. I wouldn't be surprised if they got to the point of calling them evil and an abomination and should be wiped out from the face of the earth. I do think that it's going to rise in value slowly. There are going to be institutions that adopt it and then run from there. The new support level is pretty good, and it's been tested for a little while. Others have been dropping down more. After the big crash, it's pretty much leveled out. You watch next week, it'll drop even more, but then again, it can also rise up as well. And now here we go with the most interesting one, Ethereum. Now, it's practically gone pretty smoothly on all of its upgrades. It's not crashed into oblivion. It's not vanished off the face of the earth. It's all gone pretty smooth. Yeah, it had its big correction all the way through, but I would say that's more because it is linked in with Bitcoin as pretty much everything else is. Bitcoin goes down, it goes down, Bitcoin goes up. Usually it drags everybody up. I would say the only reason why Ethereum hasn't started its rise and big correction, well, its breakout back up to the top, is mainly because there's been other things for people to concentrate on. XRP took a huge amount of headlines. Bitcoin, with its upcoming fork, has taken a huge amount of headlines, and little old Ethereum has just languished at the back, kind of doing nothing. It's still being used, it's still getting traction out there, and it is getting more well known. I've even had people come up to me that know, starting to hear about cryptocurrencies, and more, instead of mentioning Bitcoin first, they are mentioning Ethereum first. So it's getting out there. What I've done is, on this chart, I've got Bitcoin at the very bottom after its previous fork. Unfortunately, the plus and the minus and zoom and the share are in the way of the little box that I put around Bitcoin BTC 6. But that is just a box around after the fork went okay, what big rise it had just afterwards. ETH7 is a, oh yes, please happen, pray and Hail Mary. I don't think that it's going to rise really that quick. However, all what we need, a little bit of bad luck for the other ones, a bit of negative sentiment running around Bitcoin coming up to its fork, the negative sentiment to stay around Ripple, a little bit of other negative sentiment running around, let's say Electronium or whatever it's called on the new one, that is getting some headlines as well. If something comes out bad against that, then I think a lot of people are going to go for, okay, let's go back to the good old faithful. It gets a small breakout. If it gets a small breakout, it doesn't break the 300 support level again anytime soon, especially when Bitcoin's starting to crack, then I think we're in the good books and it's going to start getting upwards. I was lucky as well on the other day. I'd set up some nice orders in there to get in at a really good rate. 300 was one of my top priority ones. So that way I'm hoping it starts rising up. A very small note, yes, I have had to close all of my leveraged positions in cryptocurrency. It isn't forced on me by eToro. I did get a choice. It was leave the popular investor program or get rid of all your leveraged positions. I did try and push my luck and negotiate and try and get it so that way I had a little bit more time and I could drag it out, but how it was a blatant no, this isn't up for negotiation. And I do understand the point. It puts everyone back on a level playing field. How can they have a popular investor that is effectively endorsed by eToro having cryptocurrencies with leverage when they don't offer it anymore on singles? So yes, I do see the point, and I wouldn't be surprised if a few of the other popular investors that didn't have the leveraged cryptocurrencies on their portfolio weren't the happiest about it, because, well, to be honest, I don't blame them. If I didn't have my leverage and if I wasn't really lucky on that day opening up more leverage trades, especially the leverage times 5 on Bitcoin was a sheer stroke of luck, because I opened it about 2 hours before they stopped the leverage, then yeah, I'd be pretty annoyed if a popular investor out there had effectively an unfair advantage over me trying to get new copiers and spreading the word. I do like getting new copiers. I do like doing a good job, and I was amazed by how much response I got when I posted earlier saying if you want to be notified when this video comes out, sign up to this message list, and my iPad decided to go into meltdown mode. So all you guys are now added onto the message list. Anybody new wanting to get updates when I release these analytics on eToro, just message me asking, can I be put on a message list? And I will do. You can also copy and follow me on multiple different ways as well, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I've also got a page on there as well. Whenever I put a new update like this out into the world, that also goes on to them as well, so it'll give you good feedback. Sorry that I've been prattling on for a minute or so, just on giving other updates, but I hope that it goes to explaining about what I'm doing and where I'm going to be going soon. On my next stop, I'm going to be holding all my Ethereum positions because I'm pretty exposed on that, as much as I would like to be. My XRP positions, I am keeping them exactly as they are because I don't think it's really going anywhere up or down for the time being, and it's a good place, I would say, for the time being for me to keep some capital. That might change. I might close some trades, free up some capital for other things. Bitcoin, I am going to be waiting until a good correction. If you go onto my eToro account and change the feed to trades, you can actually see what different levels I've got orders ready for, but I do change them on quite a regular basis as I'm analysing the charts as I'm going through. And Ethereum, yeah, that covers them all. On Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, and Dash, I'm pretty much holding stations as well. I've got some trades ready to cash out at 4%, just as I always do, so that way I can keep those closed trades ticking over in profit. If you've got any questions or anything, by all means give me a message either on eToro or on YouTube or on Twitter or wherever, and I'll try and get back to them. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you again sometime.